I have been back and forth in my mind about this movie. In fact, I have had to force myself at least 3 times to try and script this. Megan is Missing is a tough watch, not because it's a bad movie, but because of the content in the film. It does not hold any punches, and at points it's just outright disgusting. I do feel like my normal review style is not best for this type of film, so if the video is a lot shorter than normal, I do apologise. It just feels like I'm not able to fully go into the plot, mainly due to the content. Now, don't get me wrong, the plot does go from point A to point B, but really there is so much that I will need to block on YouTube that I feel that an overall analysis would generally be better. Megan is Missing was written and directed by Michael Goy, who had directed episodes of American Horror Story, Riverdale, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. The film is a low-budget movie and was filmed in the style of a found footage film, but also a computer screen film. In fact, it's also one of the earliest examples of a computer screen film, 1 whole year before VHS and 3 years before Unfriended. Michael decided to self-finance the film as he believed that no one would invest due to the violent nature of the script. The budget was only $35,000. The film took 1 week to film and had a small crew of 5 people. The crew didn't have any motion picture lighting equipment, no grip equipment, or no professional sound recording equipment, which you can tell throughout the film. However, Michael wanted the movie to have a raw feel to it, and oh boy, did he hit that on the fucking head. The cast themselves were made up of mainly adolescent first-time actors. I understand that Michael wanted the acting to have, in his own words, an air of reality, as they were not recognisable actors, but due to the content of the film, it makes me feel really uneasy, knowing that these actors were basically children. But Michael did make sure that the actors' parents were always on set at all times. When the film was released, it had a very limited theatre run due to the content in the film, and the reviews were mixed. It was even banned in New Zealand as they classed it as objectionable. But the film has recently gotten more popular and has become a sort of a cult film. How? Yep, TikTok. In November of 2020, users of TikTok started posting reactions to the film and calling the movie #traumatizing. The hashtag blew up with over 83 million views. Goy heard about this and decided to release a trigger warning.
That it was exploding on TikTok at the moment, and I didn't get to give you the customary warnings that I used to give people before they watched Megan is Missing, which are: do not watch the movie in the middle of the night. Do not watch the movie alone. And if you see the words photo number 1 pop up on your screen, you have about 4 seconds to shut off the movie if you're already kind of freaking out.
It's not a fucking gremlin! Anyway, due to the sudden burst in popularity, it also started going viral on Twitter, or X, and then the film got released again by Lionsgate in 2021. Now, with some of the background out of the way, let's talk about Megan is Missing. Again, there are spoilers, but unlike my other reviews, I feel like I will go over the plot in general instead of part by part. As mentioned, this is due to the nature of the film. There are just some parts that I do not want to show as I do not feel comfortable. With that, that is your spoiler warning. Let's look into Megan is Missing. The plot for Megan is Missing is a pretty basic storyline. We have 2 main characters, Megan Stewart played by Rachel Quinn and Amy Herman played by Amber Perkins. Megan and Amy are basically polar opposites. Megan has a tougher upbringing due from having a broken home, to the point that her dad has actually assaulted her when she was young, which causes Megan to be a bit more dysfunctional and open, especially towards boys. Whereas Amy had a more secure and better family life, to the point that Amy does not want to let go of her childhood, and has caused this to manifest with her obsession with stuffed toys. Unfortunately, Amy is a target for bullies, who also seem to be Megan's friends. Megan tries to help Amy fit in and invites her to go to a house rave. From the footage we can see at the rave, we see that Amy is actually uncomfortable as the men get a bit too close to her. We also end up seeing Megan perform... yeah, I don't want to talk about that. To get drugs. And this is one of the points I want to make about this movie. The movie makes you feel uncomfortable. Now, I've watched many uncomfortable horror films. However, I don't really want to be seeing a 14-year-old girl talking about or doing oral sex. I understand why Michael Goy did this. He wants the audience to feel uncomfortable, but this can go too far, especially near the end. Anyway, it's Amy's birthday and she receives a video camera. From this point we start getting video blogs from Amy, which we see throughout the film. This will be important later. Megan then receives a social handle from one of her friends for a 17-year-old boy named Josh, or Surfer Dude. We then find out that Josh has a broken webcam and remains anonymous. Megan then decides to meet up with Josh in public and agrees to meet at a party. We then find out that Megan did not see Josh at the party. However, Josh was there but didn't go to her, and he proves this by describing what she was wearing. At this point, surely this would be a huge red flag. I understand that this is a 14-year-old child, but maybe I'm thinking back to when I was that age, and if I was meeting up with someone and they basically said that they watched me and essentially stalked me, I wouldn't meet up with them again. But this is not me. Megan agrees to meet up with Josh again, but this time behind the diner, and of course, she does not return. Megan is missing. We then see some really bad news reports and missing persons TV shows, which does bring some humour to such a bleak and depressing film. There's also security footage of Megan getting abducted and a really bad reconstruction of the abduction, which actually reminds me of the British TV show Crime Watch. Amy is now starting to get suspicious of Josh, as Josh was the last person to talk to Megan. Amy starts to talk to Josh, and Josh comes to realise that Amy is suspecting him. He begins to get nasty to Amy and calls her names, telling her to back off. We then find out that photos of Megan are now being released on fetish forums, and we see some disturbing images of Megan. The horrible part is, Rachel Quinn was actually in legit torture devices for the photos. Quinn describes wearing the headgear as her worst memory of filming and even wanted to see actual photos for inspiration behind them, which caused her to break down and cry. Again, it's so uncomfortable. Amy has continued doing her video blogs and is filming under a bridge. We see that she has kept one of her teddy bears hidden there so she can use it for comfort. We also find out that when she's filming under a bridge, there is a figure behind her. The second time she films under the bridge, the teddy bear is missing and suddenly Amy is grabbed. We then head into the last 20 minutes of the film. Police find Amy's camera in a trash can and decide to play the footage on the camera unedited. We then go to Amy chained up in a BDSM chamber where she is tortured and... yeah, I don't want to talk about this scene. Throughout the last 20 minutes, we see Amy regress back to her childlike ways as she cuddles her teddy bear and is pleading to be let go. Josh says he will let her go if she gets into the barrel so she does not know his location. As Amy looks in, we then see the decaying corpse of Megan, one of the most iconic parts of the movie. The last 5 minutes of the film is Josh just digging a hole and Amy pleading with him. We then see Josh drop the barrel in the hole and cover it. We don't cut away, it just keeps going and going. We then go to the credits. The film is a double-edged sword for me. Is it a good film? Not really. But it could be seen as one of the better found footage films out there, but the content itself is just too much. What you have to remember is that throughout this entire film, it is meant to be two 13 to 14-year-old girls. They are all underaged, and it is hard as a parent to be hearing underage girls talk about their encounters that they've had, and to the point of seeing a 14-year-old getting hurt. It is disgusting, upsetting, unnerving, and plain wrong. But also, that's why it works. Because you are forced to sit and watch these situations unfold. Goy does not cut away. He makes the shots longer than what they need to be. He is basically making you sit down and telling you this happens in the world, fucking watch it. And you do. You hope that there's going to be some sort of happy ending. Maybe Josh will get arrested, but there isn't. It's just bleak, hopeless. Which again, works as its strength. The acting throughout the film is a mixed bag. This is because, as mentioned before, Goy wanted to use non-well-known actors and wanted to add that air of reality to the film, and boy, did he do that. Due to this, there are some performances, mainly from Rachel Quinn and Amber Perkins, which are really decent, but then you also get things like this.
I loved her so much, and now she's gone because of you!
So if you do plan to watch it, please take the acting with about 2 jars worth of salt. As mentioned previously, the film was shot on a budget, and you can tell there are some points that just don't make sense. For example, they're talking on must be their phones on a FaceTime. However, the actors are clearly holding the cameras, so the picture is clear as day. It might have been better if to film it on an actual phone, but these are just minor gripes. The main thing that you need to take from Megan is Missing is to be wary of strangers online. According to statistics, in 2020 in the US, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children reported 3,000 cases of social media related kidnapping, and Facebook and Instagram are the most common platform used in kidnappings. It is scary to think in today's world what can happen to people online. And as a parent myself, it scares me when my kids are playing online games or talking to their friends online. I have to make sure that the people they are talking to are actually people that they know. Megan is Missing shows this side of the internet in a very graphic and extreme way. And what's even more crazy is that this film is based off true events. On the 1st of October 1993, 12-year-old Polly Klaas and her 2 friends were having a slumber party. At around 10:30 p.m, an intoxicated man named Richard Allen Davis got into the house and got a knife from the Klaas' kitchen. He entered the girls' bedroom and told the girls that he wouldn't do no harm to them and was only there for the money. Davis then tied up both of Polly's friends and put pillowcases over their heads. He then told them to count to 1,000 and then proceeded to kidnap Polly. Over the space of 2 months, roughly 4,000 people helped search for Polly, even actress Winona Ryder offering $200,000 as a reward for Polly's safe return during the search. Polly's body was discovered on the 4th of December 1993. Richard Allen Davis was arrested, and on the 5th of August 1996, he was convicted and given the death penalty. After the verdict was read, Davis gave the middle finger to the courtroom camera. He also said the following whilst Polly's father was in the courtroom.
I would also like to state for the record that the main reason I know that I did not attempt any lewd act that night was because of a statement the young girl made to me when walking her up the embankment. Just don't do me like my dad. I have to pay my dues, so should you.
Hell, Davis.
Davis has tried to appeal for his death sentence. However, since the 23rd of September 2023, he remains on death row in St. Quentin State Prison. Now, even though there has been tragedy, there has been some form of light from this. Polly's father, Mark Klaas, became a child advocate and established the Polly Klaas Foundation and has made himself available to parents of kidnapped children, and a link to the Polly Klaas Foundation has been provided in the description below. Now, coming back to Megan is Missing, there were talks of a remake and even a potential sequel. I don't know how you would even do a sequel, as there's really no way for the story to develop unless Josh keeps doing what he's doing and then eventually gets caught. I don't know. Megan is Missing is an interesting film. I would say go watch it, but only if you're willing to go through it with it and go through the tough viewing. It is the type of film that you really wouldn't want to keep watching on multiple viewings. It is an experience which gained traction through social media, which you could say is a little bit ironic. But this film can also open the eyes to the true story behind it with Polly Klaas, and how through all the darkness and loss, there was some light and hope to come through, especially for the other families. Thank you very much for watching. Hey everyone, thank you very much for watching this video. I know it's been a while since my last video. As you know, I've gone through a lot of personal stuff, and I'm hoping now to get the traction going with more reviews. I've already got ideas for the next video that I want to make, so keep a lookout for that. It's going to be a top 10 list, and just keep a lookout. Also, make sure you head to our Twitch page. We do stream quite regularly now, as you've probably been seeing the YouTube shorts. By all means, join us there and share the love there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll hope to see you in the next video. Take care.